Hi guys, so today we are going to be dividing 2 and 3 digit numbers by multiples of 10. So I'm going to show this to you in a couple different ways. So first what I'm going to show you is using the division symbol. So if we read this problem, we read it $60 divided by 2. So if you think about how you would actually do that in real life, how could you take $60 and split it between 2 different people? So that's essentially what this problem is asking. So when we're doing this, you can always reverse this as a multiplication problem, just like I've shown you before. So if I write it like that, 2 times what equals 60. If you hear a lot of noise, it's because the kids are playing cops and robbers with Fergie downstairs, and so they're quite rowdy and they've got her all worked up. So there's a lot of background noise downstairs. I'm very sorry about that, but it is after dinner, and that's just the way it goes around here. So if I look at this problem, what do I multiply times 2 to get 60? So I can look at this by simplifying that. What do I divide 6 by for 2 to equal 60 here? 2 times what equals 6? Here I have to have a 0 in the ones place because it's a multiple of 10. So what is 6 divided by 2? And I can look at it that way. I know that that is 3 because 2 times 3 equals 6. So my answer would be each person would get $30. All right, let's do another one that uses similar numbers. Here I'm going to do $60 divided by 3. So if I have $60 and I want to split it between 3 different people, I'm going to do 6 divided by 3. And I can do this as a multiplication problem. 3 times what equals 60. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, or 3 times 2 is 60, and then I'm going to have a 0 in the ones place. It's a multiple of 10. So my answer is $20 each. Okay? If I were to write this using the division box, it's the exact same answer. 60 divided by 3 is 20. All right, let's try another one. Here I have $100. And I'm going to divide that between 2 people. Now, I look at this as 10 divided by 2. What times 2 equals 100? 2 times 5 equals 10. And then it's a multiple of 10, so I'm going to have a 0 in the tens place. So 100 divided by 2 equals 50. So let's do another one. These are all mental math, so there isn't anything to work out and solve for. So now I'm going to look at this 100 divided by 5. If I'm splitting up $100 between 5 different people, 5 times what equals 100? And I would solve this and get what times 5 equals 10? That would be 2. And it's a multiple of 10, so I'm going to put a 0 in the ones place. So 20 times 5 equals 100. Okay, let's do a couple more. 210 divided by 3. So I look at this of what is 21 divided by 3, or 3 times what equals 21. And I would solve for that and get 7. And it's a multiple of 10, so I got to carry that 0 over to the ones place. So let's do just a couple more, and then I'm going to show you a few using the division box, which is still very similar. 80 divided by 4. What is 8 divided by 4? 4 times what equals 8? I'm going to put 2 here. And then I have a 0 in the ones place. Because if I check my work, if I do 20 times 4, that equals 80. Okay, here I have 120 divided by 2. So I'm going to look at this as 12 divided by 2. What do you multiply times 2 to get 12? 6. And then I have that 0 from the ones place. So it's got to be 60. And then last one written with a division symbol. Here I have $150 divided by 3. So I'm going to look at this as 15 divided by 3. And what does that equal? 5. And then I carry the 0 over to the ones place to get 50. My numbers are all crooked. I'm not a very good sideways writer. All right, so last few, just 2 more, using the division box. I'm still solving these the exact same way. There's no work to show unless you want to show the multiplication for how to solve. When I read this, this is 90 divided by 3. So I'm splitting $90 between 3 different people. I take the 9 divided by 3. What does that equal? And here's where I was so picky on those division boxes where you put your number. That's because the answer to this is going to be a 2-digit number. So my 3 for 30 has to be there. And then, of course, I carry my 0 over for the ones place. So it's a multiple of 10. And if I check that, is 30 times 3 would have to be 90. And that is what it equals. All right, last one. Then I'll show you the ones from your worksheet. Here I have $200 divided by 5. So I have $200 and I'm splitting it between 5 different people. So 20 divided by 5, what does that equal? 4. And here I'm putting it over the 0 in the tens place of 200. Because my answer isn't 4. If I put a 4 here, then it's going to be in the hundreds place. And that 4 is standing for 40. Because when I multiply 4 times 5, that equals 20. So I have to have that other 0 over for the tens place, or for the ones place on that. All right, so let's do the 2 examples that are on your worksheet. And this is 122A. And they're all the way down at the bottom. 60 divided by 2. So I do this problem by doing 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And then I have a 0 for the ones place to make it a multiple of 10. So my answer is 30. And there you see check. How do you check that? You're going to do 30, your answer, times 2, which is the multiple, and it has to equal 60. 0 times 2 is 0, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, and then let's do the one on the B side, which is 60 divided by 3. And I'm going to solve for that by doing 6 divided by 3. What do you multiply times 3 to get 6? It's going to be 2. And then 0 is a multiple of 10. So it's going to be a 0 in the ones place. Okay? So that's lesson for today for 122. So the other two that I'm going to go over on your math worksheet is number 2. Yesterday you were to watch the prime and composite number video, or you did it with me at 10 o'clock at the Google Hangout. So number 3, it says circle the prime numbers. So if you saw that yesterday, you would know that you need to circle the prime numbers on your math folder so you always have them. You need to know all of them from 0 to 20. So those prime numbers are any number that when you multiply it together can only be by itself and 1. So for example, 2 is 2 times 1. That's the only way that you can come up with 2 as your answer. 2 times 1. And same with 3. You can only do 1 times 3 or 3 times 1 to equal 3. 4 is composite because 4 you can multiply 1 times 2 and 2 times 2. That makes that number composite. So the numbers to circle there for prime numbers, if you did not do that in your math folder, are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and 19. Make sure you write those on your math folder. This is just like the squares. You need to have these memorized. You'll just need to know them. So that's that one. And then on the back side, 122b, list the prime numbers less than 20. You're listing these same numbers. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, and 19. Okay? So when you're looking, the only other one that is always tricky for all the years that I've been a teacher at Bishop Marshall doing the Saxon math, number 2 is tricky. Write a fraction and a decimal to show how much of the square is shaded. So think about it this way. This is 1 square. So your number cannot be greater than 1. You're going to have no whole number for this answer. If I were to divide this into 10 pieces, which just like yours, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Not very even, I know. So what's the value of each of these? If I write the value of each of these parts, there are 10. So this is 1/10, this is 1/10, this is 1/10, and so on. That's it written as a fraction. If I were to write it as a decimal, this is 1/10, this is 1/10, this is 1/10. I gotta go sideways because it's skinny. And this is 1/10. Each one of those, no matter if you write it as a fraction or a decimal, both are 1/10. Either way you say it, either way you look at it. So if I write it as a fractional part, there are how many of them are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of the 10. How do you write that then? 7 over 10. And then the decimal part, how do you write that as a decimal? 0.7. So this is 7/10. And this is 7/10. Okay? So make sure you also think about that when you're doing the B side of the worksheet, because that one is very, very similar, number 2, except for more of it is shaded, so you're going to have a different fractional part. Okay? Send me a message if you have any questions. Mrs. Curran needs to go be mommy right now because I hear Willie yelling at Mr. Curran. You guys have a good day. I miss you. Hope you are all wearing your hats for each day. Bye.